Bringing unity to the community. 89.9 KMOJ, the People's Station.
89.9 KMOJ. Today's R&B and throwbacks. I'm Glam Life Kim, and today is Wednesday, October the 21st. It's 3 after the 1 o'clock hour. And right now on the line is one of my favoriteest people in the whole wide state of Minnesota, Mr. Anthony Taylor in Minneapolis 360. How are you today, Anthony?
I'm good, Kim. I am happy that you said that because you are always in my top 5 of all-time favorite people. So,
Yay.
I think people always do like to do top 5 lists, and you definitely in that top 5.
That's what I'm talking about.
The only thing I'm tripping on is you didn't call me and tell me that winter was coming yesterday. Right?
You know what? If I knew it was
happened?
coming,
I'm one of your favorite people, and you didn't tell me. Listen, hey man, get your coat and hat ready.
Let me tell you, Mother Nature must be mad at me because they didn't give me no forewarning either. I did not get the memo that it was going to snow, so I was just as surprised as you when I woke up and looked out that window.
So I didn't get the memo. We need to talk to somebody.
Yeah,
we need to get looked out for because it is not fun right now.
No, it's not. I
outside.
think it's going to be a cold winter. I foresee that. I can tell you that much.
I believe that too. It wouldn't surprise me seeing how 2020 has been going already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and some people I think enjoy the snow and the cold.
Right.
Me personally, nah.
You know what? But you know what, Anthony? We got to embrace it. Like this year, you know what? I'm going to arrange a couple winter activities.
Okay.
That we could just get a group of folks and let's embrace the winter this year. Because that's just it. Is we live in this cold state, but we don't enjoy it because we just don't enjoy it, right?
You're right. That's true. You know what? I'm with you. I'm going to ride with you all the time. So now if there's anything that's involving, climbing any rocks or snow skiing, stuff like that, count me out. So, but I look forward to that, Kim. And I want to welcome everybody to Minneapolis 360. I am Anthony Taylor, your host. I am always honored to be here. And actually, we are back-to-back weeks, and we will be on next week as well. There's a lot of things going on, and one of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about today is the election, right? We are less than 2 weeks away from probably one of the most important elections in this country's history. If I keep it personal, in my history that I've ever been involved in, I think a lot of us Black folks who experienced the first Black president, the first Black first family, this was definitely something monumental, and I think that we couldn't even imagine that it would be possible in our country, especially with our country's history, but it happened. Now we're getting to a point where there's a lot of things in place that are on track to have an effect on our community. And I want to talk about elections because, to be honest, 2 weeks flies by, right? So I got the perfect person really to come on and talk about it because I think it's important to know the facts around elections. And she's been on our show before. She did a brilliant job being on here. I am glad that she is with her sister, Marquita Cammon from Election and Voter Services. Welcome back to KMOJ, Marquita, and how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me back.
It is always my pleasure to talk to you and for you to talk to the community about exactly some of the things that are happening with voting, right? I look around the news and I see a lot of stuff and how I get my news. I see a lot of people are doing a lot of things with early voting and everything that's involved with that. So I want to just really dig into a lot of those things with elections. But first off, with 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away from the election on November 3rd, tell our viewers in Minneapolis, like, what should voters be doing, like, right now as we hit that less than 2 week mark to the elections?
So if you're a voter, Minneapolis voter, or a voter in general, and haven't yet voted, you should have a voting plan. There is still time to vote early if you want, or you can vote on election day, depending on how you like to cast your ballot. You just need to be prepared. This year, the city recommends voting by mail to stay at home and be safe. But now that we are getting closer to the election, voting by mail might not fit your timeline, or you might be wondering about how to return your ballot on time. So I have some information on that a little bit later. But if you're planning to vote in person, either early or on election day, you just have to really make sure you know where and when you can cast your ballot to make sure your voice is heard. And we have some options for those too.
Awesome.
So Marquita, tell me real quick, and then Kim, go ahead. Let me know what I need to bring, right? So if it may be too late for me to cast my ballot in early, what do I need to bring to my polling place to make sure that I won't have any problems there when I get there?
So at the polling place on Election Day, which is November 3rd, they'll be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and you can definitely check the Secretary of State website to figure out your polling place specific for your address. The short version of that website is mnvote.org, and you can navigate from there. But if you are registered, if you're registered at your current address and you're in our system, that means that you pre-registered and we got you in the system before October 13th, whether you changed your name or address. As long as we got you in the system by October 13th, which has passed, you should be good to come and just vote. We shouldn't have to ask you for an ID or anything like that. You should be on our roster or in our what we call our poll pass at the polling place. If you have to register to vote on Election Day, you have to have a current ID or driver's license with your current address and your name on it. Now, let's say that you've moved around, you don't have the updated ID. Then we'll go to option B. You have to have some kind of photo ID, and you have to bring a bill, specifically a utility bill, some kind of Comcast bill, a cell phone bill, a credit card statement. You can bring a banking statement, a rent or mortgage payment statement, but it has to be due or dated between October 4th, that's the earliest, as late as December the 3rd. So your bill has to have some date in that range on it. And we do take documents on the phone, so it doesn't have to be an actual physical document. If you could pull it up on your phone, we'll take that with your identification card.
So, Marquita, just if you could just remind the listening audience, for those who, may not be sure, if we have some young folks on, that's maybe in the car right now tuned in, who can vote? Who all can vote?
So, in order to be a voter, you have to be 18 on or before Election Day. You have to have resided in the state of Minnesota for 20 days or more before Election Day. And you have to be what we call off paper. So we don't really go into the dynamics of your past, but you cannot be on papers. You cannot be on parole or probation here.
Okay, so if you were a felon who now is off paper, is 20 years later, they can vote?
Yeah, they can vote. Come on out. We want you to come on out and vote with us.
I hear a lot of felons that say, "Oh, I'm a felon, I can't vote." So that's good information. Thank you.
And that's a great question because, again, we always talk about a lot of misinformation that's out there. And I think there's some systems in place to kind of prevent us from knowing the right information. So I'm glad, Kim, you had asked that question, and Marquita, you made sure that we knew what the correct answer was. So if I have a ballot with me at home, Marquita, and I still want to apply to vote, can I do that by mail?
Yeah, so if you have your a mail-in ballot, let's say you have it at home with you, and you can fill it out if you want it at home, and then you can mail it in, and we have the city suggested mail-in date is by October 27th, which is next week. If you have it at home and you are like, I want to vote on this ballot, but I don't want to put it in the mail, we have several drop-off locations listed on the city's website that you can check out. I'm at the Urban League now, so we have one directly kind of kitty corner to us at URock. They are open pretty much every day, Monday through Friday, up until Election Day when they close at 3 p.m.
We are with Marquita Cammon, Elections and Voter Services, talking about elections. And Marquita, it's always a pleasure to have you. I want to just talk about how can ballots be counted, right? Because I think there's been a lot of shenanigans, right, with the U.S. Postal Service, this administration, really trying to throw a wrench into the game. And when they talk about, taking away ballot boxes and votes not being counted, if I cast my ballot, how will I know that my vote was counted?
Okay, yeah, there is a couple options for you casting your ballot and knowing that your vote was counted. So the first one is you can, if you have a mail-in ballot in or you voted early at an early vote center, you can track that we have your ballot and accepted your ballot on the mnvotes.org website. You can track that. And then we start to tabulate those ballots a little bit early. So this year we were able to get a mandate from the court to kind of start counting those ballots and putting them into our machine today. And then next week, October 27th, is when we start direct balloting. So we have a couple other early vote centers that are early. And on Tuesday, you can actually come into an early vote center, one of our 3 locations, and you can mark your ballot and you can put it physically in a tabulator yourself that day.
Beautiful. And Marquita, if I made a mistake on my ballot or if I lost it, what can I do and how would I even know if I made a mistake, right? So talk to our listeners about that.
Okay, so when making a mistake on a ballot, the most common mistake that usually come across is where people accidentally mark two candidates in one race. That's one of the more common ones, or accidentally wrote notes on their ballot. If for any reason you feel like you did those things, you voted for 2 different candidates within one race, and the ballot shows you each race, we can definitely take care of that. We can cancel your ballot in an early vote center. So we'll cancel your ballot. You'll dispose of the physical ballot, and then we'll reissue you a ballot. And the ballot that we reissue on the back end, it basically cancels out the ballot that you made your mistake on.
And thank you for that. One of the things that I think hopefully our viewers and our listeners in Minneapolis kind of understand that we've been talking about that quite a bit with elections and those type of things, and really to avoid any type of misunderstanding, please make sure, Minneapolis, that you understand to fill out your ballots correctly. Marquita, can you give us in Minneapolis some information about some of the early voting centers, some of the times, some of the dates and locations that folks can have so they can formulate their plan in person, right? So if they want to go and vote early and they've got their plan, give us some information on where they can go and times and locations.
Okay, so so if you live in Minneapolis, you can vote early in person right now today at our early vote center, and that's at 980 East Hennepin Avenue. So that'll be open, but it's open now all the way up until November the 2nd, which is the last day of early voting. That vote center is open. This week is actually extended hours, so we are open 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday we'll be open 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sunday we'll be open from noon to 5 p.m. So next week on Tuesday we have 2 other locations open. So we have the North Early Vote Center, which is at the Urban League Twin Cities, 2100 Plymouth Avenue. And then we have the South Early Vote Center, which is Longfellow Park Recreation Center at 3435 36th Avenue South. These two, the North and the South locations, are going to be open October 27th through November 2nd. And we will be open the weekdays from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. We'll be open on Saturday, October 31st from 9 to 4. And then we'll be open Sunday, November 1st from noon to 5. And then we'll be open again on Monday, which is November 2nd from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you just remember you can go right now to our Early Vote Center over at 980 East Hennepin Avenue. If you want to come to somewhere that may be closer to your location, our North and South Early Vote Centers will be open next week on Tuesday, October 27th.
We are with Marquita Cammon from Elections and Voter Services talking about elections. Gave us a lot of information regarding early voting centers. And the last day to do early voting, Marquita, is the 2nd of November. Is that correct?
Yep, so the last day to do early voting is November the 2nd, November the 3rd, which is Tuesday. No early vote centers will be open. But if you have a mail-in ballot that you filled out, you can still drop those off at the drop-off locations, which we have 12. And like I said, you can go on the city's website, and we have those locations. So their website is vote.minneapolismn.gov.
And it's vital that folks know this information. And I got a couple more questions for you, Marquita, before we have to go. When will I know the results, right? I think a lot of people think that we'll know November 3rd or get a pretty good indication on the results. But when technically will I really know who won the elections?
So the new state law requires counting all mail ballots that are postmarked on or before the date of the election, which is November 3rd, and received in the mail no later than 7 days after the election, which is November 10th. So this means that any voter results released the night of the election will be partial, unofficial results. We have to continue to get the mail ballots processed for the next 7 days after the election, and those will be added into the partial, unofficial totals each day, and then we will post it on the Secretary of State and Hennepin County website.
Beautiful. Marquita, and I just want to just ask you real quick, you've been doing this a long time, and you guys have been doing a lot of work getting a lot of this information out to the public and making sure that folks really understand the significance of information, right? So you informing people on exactly what they need to do to make their voice heard. If you could give our listeners one important tip to take away today about everything you said and some of the things that you've seen during your time working with elections, what's the most important things you want folks to take away today from your conversation?
I just want everyone to know that the city and all election workers, we are here to support you in coming out to vote. We want you to exercise that right. So we want you to come in into the Early Vote Center. If you have questions, come into the Early Vote Center if you can. Call 311 if you need to. Go to the Secretary of State website, mnvotes.org, to figure out your polling place. And also you can come to the city for City of Minneapolis residents. Go to vote.minneapolismn.gov to get more information about it. We just want to make sure everyone's informed and let you all know, all the voting public, that we are here for you. We're here for you. We're here to help exercise your right to vote, and we want you to vote.
And also, too, Marquita, just what would be your message to folks? And I hear this a lot, that folks say, well, I'm not going to vote because my vote is not going to count or it's not going to make a difference, right? And you hear people sometimes, I don't know if you do, but I do hear people talk about, well, it won't matter because I'm just one person. What would be your message to folks who have that thinking?
For people who have that thinking, I want them to know that your voice does count. And especially for our community, I'm African American as well. We have waited, and a lot of women have waited, and other part demographics have waited so long to have the right to exercise our voice, and we have it now. So I just want everyone to know your voice does count, your vote does count. We don't sway who or what you vote for. We just want you to come out and vote. And it's okay if you don't want to vote in every race. Maybe there's something specifically calling out to you on the ballot this year that you want to vote for. We still count whatever you want to vote for because it's your voice and it's your decision.
I'm going to piggyback off of that, too. Great reply, hun. But also, you guys, remember that if you don't vote, that's a vote for the person that you probably didn't want in office. So,
That's absolutely true.
Right. So think about it. Think about it in that way. I mean, I know that it's difficult right now to make a decision. We definitely got a hard one this year. But I'd say do your research, do your homework, and let your voice be heard.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Beautifully said, Kim. Marquita, it's always a pleasure. I'm so glad that you came on today. Appreciate your time, sis, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Marquita.
Right, thank you. Thank you all. Have a great, great day.
You too, love.
Thank you. Marquita Cammon, Election and Voter Services. Really good information about early voting, polling places. Kim asked a great question about young people and the requirements for voting. And one thing that I know, Kim, that I think is important to me anyway, and hopefully other listeners listen to some of the things that Marquita said, is you have to have a plan, right? Mm-hmm. So what is your plan? Either you're going to early vote or you're going to go to a polling place. Come up with a plan that makes sense for you so you can exercise your voice, right?
Absolutely.
So I have my plan ready. I don't know about you. You got yours ready? I know you do. You always planned up.
You know what? This time I think because I have so much going on right now that I haven't kind of figured out my plan. And I want to take a little time. I figure probably on the first or the second, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to just really do my homework. Because like I said, for me, this one is a challenging decision to make. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm gonna think on it. I'm gonna pray on it, and I'm gonna make the best decision possible. I guess all I could do is make the best decision possible for me.
Absolutely, and again, it's more than just a general election for the president too, right? So
right.
there's a lot of other absolutely federal. There's a lot of things going on. So I got my plan. I got my celebratory items.
Look
and
at you.
I got my sleep aid items for depending on the results.
Right.
So it's either or, but it's going down on the 3rd.
It is. It's a very important day, Twin Cities.
Very important day, absolutely. And before we get out of here, I just want to share a couple things that COVID is definitely still around people, and I know that a lot of times during our show when we get on, I'd like to talk about the COVID numbers and things like that. And I think we all understand that we're probably in a second, or maybe some people think third wave with COVID. So I still want folks to protect themselves. Please protect yourselves. And I think it gets a lot harder in the wintertime, Minneapolis, as we know, we kind of hunker down and we stay in. And one of the biggest things that I want folks to really understand too is the holidays are coming up too, right? So there's going to be a lot of important decisions that families are making around the holidays, and things might look a little bit different in your household, especially with Thanksgiving coming up. Obviously, I think even before that with Halloween, but I like to focus on the holidays that mean more to our people, and that's always food and family. So please take care of yourself and do those things as necessary. I want to give some quick testing sites. COVID testing site information in the next couple of weeks that folks can either take themselves or their families to get tested. One of them is at St. Peter AME Church at 401 East 41st Street on Thursday, October 22nd from 2 to 6 and the 23rd from 2 to 6. So you can also register online and you can also go on site as well. Also, too, with Bishop Howell and Shiloh Temple at 1201 West Broadway from 12 to 4, Saturday, October 24th. And you can also get your flu shot there as well. Another place is Hennepin United Methodist on 511 Groveland Avenue from 12 to 4. That's Saturday, November 7th. You can get your flu shot there as well. And also Eastside Neighborhood Services 1700 2nd Street Northeast from 12 to 4. Saturday, November 14th. And you can also get your flu shot there as well. So please, Minneapolis, protect yourself at all times. It's almost like when the boxer or the referee give you rules in the boxing match. So the boxers, he tell you to protect yourself at all times.
Right.
I think we have to live by that motto. So
we do. You know what? One thing with that, Anthony, just, hey, if you're not feeling well, I don't care what the symptom is. If you feel like you're getting sick with the cold, if you have diarrhea, whatever it is that could be going on that just may not seem normal, or just that, hey, any feeling of inkling of being sick, just stay home. Don't even risk coming outside and putting somebody else at risk. You know, it's very important to just, it'll be okay. No, let me tell you, the world will still move if you are not around on that day. So
absolutely,
let's be safe.
Be safe, and that's for sure. Wear your mask, social distance, and please, as our holiday season come up, really, really understand that and have a safe plan in place to celebrate. So with that being said, Kim, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Same here.
See you next week, Minneapolis. One love, be safe.
All right, Twin Cities. On the way next is Mr. Loudmouth himself, Zany K on 89.9 KMOJ, today's R&B and Throwbacks. One love, kings and queens.